Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a date, like a specific date when the rule book for an entire industry doesn't just get updated, it gets fundamentally rewritten overnight. For artificial intelligence, well, that date was August 2nd, 2025.
It's the one.
Yeah, the day the EU AI Acts enforcement regime officially kicked in. Our sources, they're pretty much unanimous. They're calling it the end of AI development as an unregulated frontier.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission here in this deep dive is to explore what this significant milestone truly means for you.
Right.
Whether you're, developing AI, deploying it, or maybe just engaging with AI systems. What are the concrete changes, the legally binding ones now in effect?
Yep.
And maybe most importantly, why can data pipeline compliance absolutely not wait any longer?
It's really important to frame this correctly. This isn't just another regulatory update, not something you just add to a checklist somewhere.
Right.
It's really a paradigm shift. Compliance, which maybe used to be a peripheral concern, something the legal team worried about, it's now moved right to the center. It's a core engineering requirement now, woven right into how AI systems get built and operated.
That's a big shift. So August 2nd, here's where it gets really interesting. It wasn't just some, quiet bureaucratic thing.
Not at all.
Our sources are really highlighting this. It activated a comprehensive enforcement regime, one that fundamentally transforms how data pipelines have to operate globally. Mm-hmm. It basically crossed over from theory, from a framework on paper,
right,
into an operational reality. No more wait and see. The time to act was, yesterday, but definitely now.
Precisely. And that activation, it established legally binding obligations, specifically for general-purpose AI models, GPAI.
GPAI, right.
But it's actually much bigger than just that. It brought this entirely new governance infrastructure to life, like purpose-built to police AI development across Europe.
Wow.
It's a critical wake-up call for every single data and AI professional out there, because these rules, they're not just on paper anymore. They are active. They are fully enforceable.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, the enforcement. Let's dive into that. What makes this moment so critical isn't just like new rules appearing. It's that at the same time, this enforcement apparatus got set up. And it has real teeth, right?
It absolutely does.
We're not talking about just warnings here. It's a fully operational system.
That's exactly right. We are literally watching the birth of this pan-European regulatory machine.
Okay.
The European AI Office, officially open for business, the European AI Board, convened.
Yeah.
Delegates from every single member state are there.
Every state.
Every state. And the national competent authorities, they're in position right across the continent. This wasn't some slow, gradual rollout.
Yeah.
It was a simultaneous activation designed specifically to identify, investigate, and crucially, penalize non-compliance immediately.
Okay, so you've got this machine up and running. What happens? What are the consequences if an organization falls short? If they get caught unprepared? Is it a slap on the wrist, or are we talking GDPR-level fines straight away?
We are definitely talking hefty fines. The financial penalties are deliberately severe. It really echoes the intent we saw with GDPR.
Right.
For breaches of those GPAI obligations we mentioned, fines can go up to $15 million, or potentially worse, 3% of their global turnover, whichever is higher.
3% of global.
And it gets steeper.
Yeah.
If an organization violates the prohibited practices, the things the Act outright bans, those penalties can jump to a staggering $35 million, or 7% of global revenue.
7%.
7%. These aren't just, punitive measures. They're very clear signals. The EU intends to enforce this with the same kind of rigor they applied to GDPR. The goal seems to be fundamentally re-engineering how organizations approach AI, shifting focus from just speed to deeply embedding ethics and safety right from the start.
Those numbers are, they're substantial. And this isn't just an EU problem, is it? Does a company actually need to be based in Europe to get hit by these rules?
That's a really critical point, and the answer is a clear no. The Act has significant extraterritorial reach. What that means is basically any company developing, deploying, or even just using AI systems within the EU has to comply. It doesn't matter where their headquarters are.
Right.
So think about it like this. A data team sitting in San Francisco, they're fine-tuning a language model. And that model is going to be used by customers in Europe. That team in San Francisco is now subject to the exact same obligations as, say, A startup operating out of Berlin. Your location doesn't give you a pass anymore. It's all about where your AI operates or who it impacts within the EU.
Okay, so the rules are here. Enforcement is real. It reaches globally. Let's get practical. Let's talk specific technical obligations, the ones triggered by this August deadline. Because this stuff directly impacts how data pipelines need to be designed, operated, monitored. This lands squarely on the engineering and data teams, right?
Absolutely. Squarely on them. And for GPAI providers, the requirements are, well, they're both comprehensive and deeply technical.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, technical documentation. It's not optional anymore, not just good practice.
Right.
Engineers must now maintain detailed technical dossiers, and these need to cover everything. Model architecture, training, data provenance, where did the data come from, evaluation results, the works.
And that's not just writing a report at the end.
No, this requires implementing formal, auditable processes. You need to track every single aspect of the model's lifecycle. We're talking dataset versions, specific pre-processing steps, configuration parameters. Everything needs to be documented and trackable.
Okay, documentation. What about how these models interact with others, downstream users?
Good point. That brings us to the transparency package. This is a big one. It fundamentally changes the relationship GPAI providers have with anyone using their models.
How so?
Teams now have to prepare these standardized technical packages, and the goal is to help other AI system providers really understand the model's capabilities. But just as importantly, its limitations too. So transparency moves from being this sort of vague ethical idea into a very concrete technical deliverable, something you have to produce, and it needs to be auditable. Then there's data provenance. This one's huge for data teams. It's basically become a legal necessity now.
Provenance? Tracking the data's origin.
Exactly. The Act requires public summaries of the content used for training. That means data engineers have to meticulously track the origin of every single data set they use.
Every data set.
Every single one. This demands pretty sophisticated metadata management systems, things that can accurately describe the data types, the sources, all the pre-processing methods applied, knowing exactly where your data came from and what you did to it. That's a core compliance imperative now. And one more big one. Copyright compliance. This has really shifted. It used to be mainly a concern for the legal department, right?
Yeah, usually.
Now it's an engineering priority. The Act mandates policies to respect EU copyright law, and it specifically encourages using web crawlers that adhere to the Robot Exclusion Protocol.
Robot Exclusion Protocol, REPay, like robots.txt.
Exactly, the robots.txt file. Essentially, it's the set of rules a website puts out there to tell crawlers, hey, don't access or index these parts of my site. It's about respecting copyright online.
Okay.
So this requirement directly forces teams to reconfigure their data ingestion systems. They have to make sure their systems actually honor those machine-readable rights reservations. It's a technical fix for a legal requirement.
You know, listening to all this, it seems like a lot of organizations might think, okay, we have a model, it's been running, maybe we're okay. But I get the feeling there's a hidden pitfall here, something people might miss.
You are absolutely right to pick up on that, yes. There's an aspect here that's potentially the most dangerous, I think. It's already catching organizations out.
What is it?
Any company that substantially modifies an existing GPAI model.
Substantially modifies. What does that mean exactly? Fine-tuning, retraining.
Yes, exactly that. Fine-tuning, retraining, similar kinds of adjustments. If you do that, you automatically become a provider under the law, with all the obligations that entails. And this raises a really important question. What does this mean for just routine MLOps tasks? You know, MLOps, continuous development, deployment, monitoring of machine learning models.
Right, the day-to-day stuff for many teams.
Exactly. Well, those routine tasks, they can now trigger the full suite of GPAI provider obligations.
Yeah.
Creating that technical dossier, preparing the transparency package, all of it.
Wow, so even just tweaking a model could pull you into this.
Potentially. Yes, if it crosses the substantial modification threshold. I actually heard about one team recently. They thought their weekly model recalibration was just, standard maintenance. Turns out, under the Act, it qualified as a substantial modification. Suddenly, bam, they were facing this mountain of new documentation requirements they weren't prepared for at all. It caught them completely off guard.
Ouch.
Yeah. So the MLOps pipeline itself, it has to evolve. It needs to become more like a governance engine, tracking every single modification, ensure the documentation is done, implementing all the regulatory checks before anything gets deployed. It's a fundamental shift for MLOs.
Okay, that's GPAI and the modification trap. What about systems classified as high risk? The stakes there must be even higher, right? Even if the deadlines are a bit further out.
Oh, absolutely. The ACT places, frankly, unprecedented demands on the data infrastructure design for these high-risk systems.
How so?
Well, take Article 10. It focuses specifically on data quality. It mandates that the datasets used for training, validation, and testing meet very specific quality criteria.
Okay.
This isn't just basic checks. It requires incredibly robust data governance, tailored precisely to what that high-risk system is intended to do. And crucially, it includes continuous monitoring for potential biases that could impact health, safety, or fundamental rights.
Continuous monitoring for bias.
Yes, we're talking about integrating sophisticated statistical checks using representative test data sets and doing this throughout the entire data lifecycle, not just a one-off check at the beginning. And then there's Article 12. This one deals with traceability.
Traceability, making sure you know what happened.
Exactly, but on steroids. It demands the automatic recording of events over the system's entire lifetime.
Right.
And listen, this isn't just passive logging like, okay, we stored some logs somewhere.
Yeah.
It's active continuous monitoring. The goal is to ensure every single action the system takes can be meticulously traced back to its source.
Every action.
Pretty much. And for certain high-risk systems, the Act gets incredibly specific about minimum logging requirements. Things like the start and end times of each use, which reference databases were checked, the specific input data that led to a match, even identifying the actual people involved in verifying the results.
Wow, that's an extraordinary level of
It
detail.
really is. Granular.
So, okay, we have these really complex, demanding new requirements, basically reshaping how AI gets built and managed. How's the technology market responding? Are there tools emerging to actually help organizations navigate this regulatory maze?
Yes, thankfully. The sheer complexity, as you might expect, has really catalyzed some rapid development in the AI governance and observability market. It had to happen.
Makes sense.
We're seeing integrated solutions pop up. Companies like OneTrust, Credo AI, they're building platforms specifically designed to manage these compliance tasks, automating risk classification, helping maintain that extensive documentation needed for both GPAI and high-risk systems. These tools are quickly becoming, well, indispensable for many. And it goes beyond just those platforms. Things like data quality and observability tools, they used to be kind of nice to have operational conveniences maybe.
Right.
Now, they're absolute compliance necessities. You've got open source options like Great Expectations or dbt, which let engineers embed validation tests right into their data pipelines. And then commercial platforms, Monte Carlo and Amalo, they're using machine learning themselves to automatically spot quality issues and anomalies in real time, which is crucial for that continuous monitoring requirement we just talked about. And specifically for looking after the models themselves, there are model observability platforms. Think Fiddler AI, for example. They provide this unified monitoring dashboard, looking at bias, fairness, security metrics all in one place. And for the generative AI models, these tools are getting really sophisticated, tracking unsafe prompts, identifying hallucinations when the AI makes things up, detecting adversarial attacks, and all while collecting the audit evidence you need. These capabilities, they were technically desirable before. Now, they're legally required to prove you're compliant.
That's quite a toolbox emerging. But let's zoom out a bit.
No.
Beyond just, ticking the compliance boxes and using these tools, what does this all mean for the bigger strategic picture for an organization? How can they potentially turn this challenge into some kind of advantage?
Yeah, that's really the key question, isn't it? Where's the strategic insight here? And I think forward-thinking organizations get this. GPI compliance isn't just a one-time hurdle to jump over.
Right.
It's really about building the fundamental technical and process infrastructure you're going to need anyway, especially for the even more stringent high-risk requirements that are coming into effect on August 2nd, 2026.
So getting ready now helps for later.
Exactly. Companies treating this as just a series of isolated tasks, deadline by deadline. They're going to find themselves perpetually scrambling, always playing catch-up. Whereas the proactive ones, they can actually gain a competitive edge. And we're already seeing some really compelling examples of this playing out.
Sure.
Take Mercedes-Benz.
Okay.
With their Drive Pilot system. They embedded explainability and human-in-the-loop safeguards right from the very beginning of development.
Right.
What happened? Well, they not only secured approval for Level 3 automated driving, a huge step, but they also built significant trust with consumers. That's invaluable.
Trust.
Yeah.
Good example.
Or look at Microsoft. They adopted what they call a shared responsibility model. They didn't just update their own products and contracts to ban prohibited uses of AI. They went further. They're providing extensive documentation and governance tools specifically to help their downstream customers meet their own AI Act obligations.
Ah, helping their customers comply.
Precisely. It shows how compliance can actually become part of a strategic business model, something that fosters trust and collaboration across the whole AI ecosystem. It's not just a cost center, it can be a value driver.
That's a great point, turning compliance into strategy. Now, is this AI Act a completely separate universe of rules, or does it somehow integrate with existing legal frameworks companies might already be dealing with, like GDPR?
That's a very good question. And the good news, relatively speaking, is that it is designed to function as an integrated part of the broader EU legal framework. It specifically aligns with existing GDPR programs.
Okay, so they talk to each other.
They do, which is a significant advantage for companies that already have mature GDPR processes. Essentially, the AI Act reinforces core GDPR principles, but extends them into these new AI-specific contexts.
How does that work in practice?
Well, think about the accountability requirements in the AI Act that detailed technical documentation we discussed. It really mirrors GDPR's Article 30, the record-keeping obligations.
Right.
The fairness principles in the AI Act. They translate directly into specific requirements for bias testing and examination in AI systems, building on GDPR's fairness ideas. And the requirements for human oversight in the AI Act correspond very neatly with GDPR rights regarding human intervention in automated decision-making.
So you can leverage existing GDPR work.
Exactly. It provides really significant opportunity for organizations to build on their existing GDPR infrastructure, the processes, the mindset, maybe even some of the tools. It helps avoid the massive complexity and inefficiency of trying to manage completely disconnected regulatory frameworks.
Okay, so integration with GDPR helps. But it sounds like August 2025, while huge, was really just the starting gun for this whole process. The countdown for more AI Act obligations is still ticking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
August 2025 was foundational, no doubt. But it is by no means the end of the compliance journey, not even close.
What's next?
The next major deadline is coming up, August 2nd, 2026. That's when the obligations for the majority of those higher-risk AI systems take full effect.
Okay, 2026 for most high risk.
Right. And then there's the final deadline, August 2nd, 2027. That applies to high-risk systems that are components of products already regulated by existing EU laws, things like medical devices or machinery that might incorporate AI.
Got it. 2026, 2027.
Yeah. The key takeaway here is that organizations really must view this as a continuous process, a process of regulatory evolution, not just a series of discrete deadlines to hit. If you only react to the deadlines, you're always going to be behind the curve. Proactive adaptation is essential.
This has really been quite the deep dive. It feels like a moment of truth, a real reckoning for the AI industry. The EU AI Act's August 2025 milestone. It just unequivocally signals the definitive end of AI development as some kind of unregulated Wild West. The enforcement machinery is up and running, the penalties are serious, and those technical requirements, they're incredibly specific and demanding.
And what's become crystal clear, especially for data and AI professionals, is this: compliance by design. It's just not optional anymore. It can't be an afterthought. That technical excellence, the innovation that drives the field, it now has to be inextricably linked to legal compliance. There's no separating them.
Yeah.
Organizations that really get this, that recognize this profound shift and adapt their data pipeline management, their MLOps, everything.
Yeah.
They won't just avoid those huge regulatory penalties. They'll actually establish the strong, robust operational foundation they need for sustainable AI development in what is clearly going to be an increasingly regulated world.
So the critical milestone has passed. August 2nd, 2025 is behind us. The question now, for you listening, is whether your data infrastructure, your processes, your teams, are they truly ready for this new reality of AI regulation? Or perhaps are you about to discover just how expensive non-compliance can really be?